Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the artistic born color drawing right here. As you see right here, is I went ahead and drew a number of items, just like you got right here. Is me right here. Is I went ahead and did this, which no, this is no permanent marker or anything like that. A lot of this, most of this was done by crayon, and you see right here that I went ahead and drew right here is of course a baby picture. You see a me in and along right here. It's like one of me whenever I was 1 year old, and then of course right here, and followed by my baby picture right here from Matt's Matt's first birthday. It is July 18th, 1985, but it's like say 1984 is like of course when I was born, and then you got right here is for St. Joseph's Hospital, but. But you see right here for artistic born is that what I'm basically talking about is the subjects and which that most of with most of us here is like if we it's like if we were to go on maybe a story about whenever we were born, a lot of things that you still remember, a lot of things that you don't remember, and then of course that of course that could also maybe include maybe dreams that you had that it's been about like if most of us here would maybe know what I'm talking about, that whenever you would have a dream that you can still remember the dream. And of course one of the dreams of course I remember having was a time whenever I was afraid of water, and I remember one time I think about 3 or 4 times that I would have dreams about that I would be going diving in a pool or whatever it is, if it's a lake or if it's a pool or whatever, that anywhere where there will be water, if it will be shallow water or if it will be some type of water, deep water it is, that I would have problems swimming. And then once or twice I would have dreams about that I would be swimming up shore, and then of course I would run out of breath, and run out that whatever reason I did not make it up above the shore or whatever you call it. I don't know if it had anything to do with surfing or whatever, but basically in the dream that of course there'll be a lifeguard there, and sometimes I have those dreams to where that whatever that goes on in the dream, that somebody that I know, somebody or a friend of mine or whatever, that is what you call is doing that what you call that medical attention on me, such as operating a CPR unit or whatever you call it, that you say is doing paramedical type work or whatever. But basically is talking about for artistic born is talking about is that from the basic on the topic from how we were born, about how we were created. And a lot of times that the way I think about it is like between looking at the paperwork here, is that and this of course is my medical, say some of my background history, if like from my schooling, and then along with the medical research and stuff. And each time I would look at it, of course that I kind of get it's like in that depression type of mode. But the way I think about it is that between artistic born, the way that you were born and the way you were raised, and then about your talents, that the way I think about it is that then in that nowadays it seems like a lot of people are what you call are curious to know, not really, that they're not really curious really to know about maybe about how the universe was really created, or maybe that we already know a little bit about that. But a lot of times nowadays that people are what you call are interested to know about maybe nowadays about it's like about maybe the world coming to an end, or maybe that the fact about maybe poison, vaccine or something like that, something to be real worried about. And the way I think about it is that the way I think about it, the truth is that we may not be born to be perfect, that we may have our issues, and then of course we may have our problems from whenever we were in school, that of course may have had to wear glasses most of my life, or maybe I could have been connected to an oxygen tank. It was could have been connected to an oxygen tank, which I remember whenever I was born, and of course that's what happened. It was like a birth defect that developed. And of course with me, the way I think about it is that of course being having that what you call that disorder, such as you say borderline. It's like borderline disorder, and basically, it's a I guess my own words, it's like a disorder, disorder that is in the brain, that is in the brain that that causes that causes the mind to constantly to say assimilate the I guess the word is that a way to translate any information to to concentrate more, see here, more efficiency, say you see more say more compared to others. So basically, it's like it's a disorder that, of course, that some people, I was born with, to say that that you have it to where that your mind kind of thinks a little slower than compared to most people. And the way I think about it is that that on the other hand too, that that I try not to let that get to me. Really, is that the fact is that as I got my baby picture right there. It's like that's me right there. It's like if I was like knowing about about what is going on, but other than that, is like for my part of the story about it, is knowing about artistic born. Is no matter what goes on, it's like whatever that you deal with life. If you maybe have you go through rough times or whatever, if you have bad dreams or whatever, or maybe if you have bad luck with something, then you know that of course that don't mean that people hate you, they don't care about you. It's just stuff that normally happens. And I guess you say that we have our good days and our bad days, and then of course that the way that I think about it is the way to make it better is of course is to keep working and say on what you need to do in order to be able to say just to survive and stuff. And the way I think about it is that with most of us here, well, I would probably say that that between talking about when the world's going to come to an end, or maybe the fact about maybe drought season is going to apply, or we're going to run out of food for to feed the wealthy people, or not everybody is going to be insured after maybe next 10 years from now. And the way I think about it is that in my own words, between A, B, and C, as I go with E for educate, is like for the word worry. For worries that we can probably think about is that is so far for the artistic born is to know that that everything will get worked out. When the time comes. When the time comes, or when time's ready. And the way I think about it is that other than with worries, is that to know about no matter who you are, and then maybe how small you are, how tall you are, maybe how what your grades were, to know that it's like me, it's like so far with about artistic born, is to know that we were all born with that special gift. And one of the special gifts, no matter if it was, let's say, your favorite color, one of those special gifts is to know is that you are alive, that you are speaking. That you are speaking, for what you say is for your own story, is that the story of the fact about it, is as me, is like me as a Maddie Mick, is that to know is like speak is like for the story, is to know is that for whatever I can do is if I was, would you say, is born with a lung disorder, or if it was born with a brain disorder, or whatever you call it, for whatever you call it, it's for artistic born, to know that we all know is like to be thankful that it's like if that that we're alive, and that it's like to be, and that also be presented by no matter who you decide you want to be, is if it's a paramedic, or if it's what you say, if it's a doctor or a nurse or whatever, family member or a friend or whatever they choose to be. But as long as they say this is that the world is, so far as that is talking about the love between each other is what you call is what matters. It's like the love between yourself and then each other, and then of course that we can all think about is that between what we saw in the say's variety of colors, as that between the sun and then the moon, as we all know that it's like as tomorrow is like the sun will rise. It's like for what happened within the within the next day, or maybe by next week, is to know that it's like for anything's possible. It's like for say for artistic born. But other than that, for the artistic born, and almost like me, it's like for me that's speaking, it's like what to say this is like for that definition. But what you say for borderline, and then the story for worries, is like there ain't no worries. So it's like for to be glad is like this, and getting caught in everything. And it's like if and I'm not knowing for a pina colada, but I tell you one thing is like to know is like it's like for the truth that sets you free. It's like with the truth that sets me free is to know that it's like if like we to do the homework is to understand a little bit more about for the artistic born, is to know that whatever the truth winds up turning out to be, is to know that it's like that you're alive, and that you appreciate who you are. Some of it is for the artistic born color.